Welcome back, everybody, to my last brain cell. Happy Tuesday. Hey, happy March. You feel me? It's the second week of March. We're already here. I hope the first full week of March was good to you. Happy Women's History Month and happy Melanated March. I'm on Threads, and I feel like every social media app, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, they all have their own language. It feels like it never feels like the things that happen on TikTok transfer to the things that happen on Facebook, transfer to the things that happen on Threads. It's five different realities or dimensions that we live in amongst these social medias. So on Threads, I saw something called Melanated March, and I'm sure eventually it will at least find its way to my algorithm. Maybe it's just an algorithm thing on Instagram, but yeah, happy melanated March, y'all. So here we are, third month of the year. I hope you're making good on the goals that you have. Me personally, I think I am. Like I said, one of my goals this year is to make more money, and I'm slowly building to that, while also making sure that I take care of my financial responsibilities. Yeah, man, I got some good goals for the next few years. You feel me? I got plans for where I want to be in the next 4 to 5 years. So I'm hoping that, if I continue to push myself, I see that come to fruition. With that said, I also want to give a huge shout out to all of you guys. And I think first and foremost, thank God. You feel me? Huge shout out to God, first and foremost, because without him, there'd be no me, right? And he's given me this ability and the idea to sit here and chop it up with you guys and just be unapologetically myself in front of the camera. So that's why I want to give him thanks first. But then I want to give thanks to you guys for being the ones to be here. We've gained a lot of followers these last few months, weeks, days. It feels like, I feel like I remember just the other day I had 50 followers and now I'm at 85. And that might not seem like a lot, but 35 extra people. I don't think I can name 35 people that aren't family. You know what I mean? So it just feels really good. And the views on my shorts have been exploding. And that's just thanks to you guys, the viewers. So I do want to say huge shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you watch my stuff through the shorts on YouTube, whether you've seen my things on TikTok, wherever you're seeing my stuff, whatever is causing you to either hit that follow or subscribe button or even that like button or just watching in general, just know I appreciate that. It really does mean a lot. I started this journey just to kind of have some accountability for myself, making sure that I showed up every day. And now it's just become something fun to do, something that I just really enjoy. Sometimes it's stressful. Sometimes I don't want to sit down and do this because it does take time to get in that mental state and prepare and, know what I'm going to talk about. But I really enjoy this. So thank you. But all that said, I don't have a question. I do have a question of the day, actually. But I want to yap. So I'm debating if I should do a question of the day. Fuck it. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. So, question of the day. I want to start by give you guys what's I'm looking for. I want to start by saying giving some premise to this, that I've finished The Blacklist. I personally wasn't a fan of the ending. I understand why it ended the way it did. The season felt rushed, but that's just me. At least they ended the show in a way that kind of made sense. Red dies in the end. He's not killed. He is killed, but not by a human, by a bull. Why a bull? I don't know. And they still, once again, kind of hinted one more time that he was, in fact, at some point, Katerina, because Elizabeth's daughter Agnes said, "Oh my God, you're such a mom," about something to him. He goes, "Yeah, sometimes I can't help myself." And I think that was the last key for me to be like, "Yep, that was Katerina." But anyway, I digress. My question is, after watching The Blacklist, I remembered that James Spader also voiced Ultron in Age of Ultron, The Avengers. And I'm pretty sure that was one of the main reasons I started watching The Blacklist. The timeline might not be right there, but I feel like no, that's definitely not right, because Blacklist came out in 13, Avengers 1 came out in 12. So I was already watching The Blacklist. And I don't think I've seen Spader anywhere else, but I want to say that it made me excited for him being in this role. That sounds a little bit better, because I heard his voice and I was like, fuck, he's going to be great as Ultron. Spoiler alert, he fucking was. He was amazing as Ultron. But it got me thinking. James Spader isn't a name you usually hear when it comes to some iconic voices. When it comes to iconic voices, names you often hear: Kevin Conroy, Morgan Freeman. And why those two, maybe Samuel L. Jackson, but really Kevin Conroy and Morgan Freeman. Because when you hear those men speak, you know, oh yeah, that's Kevin Conroy or Morgan Freeman, respectively. But I feel like James Spader has that very unique tone and cadence and just octave that his voice can be ranked amongst the legends. So my question to you, and I'm going to leave this open-ended because I don't really have an answer, but my question to you is, what other actors do you think are out there that have legendary voices, right? So like I said, Samuel L. Jackson might be one. James Spader is definitely going to be someone I add to my list. But besides like Japanese voice actors, I don't want to include them in this because I feel like, you know, they do the voice for the role very specifically. Like someone else I think has a pretty legendary voice is Sean Schemmel, who does Goku. But that's because he's doing Goku. Like Sean Schemmel himself doesn't sound like Goku. He makes a voice for Goku. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let me know, guys. What iconic actors or what actors do you think are out there that have that iconic voice? And now it's time for me to yap. So I just want to talk about a little bit of anime. I know I can spin the wheel and hope for the best, but I'm going to talk about it. Last week, now in real time, right? Because you're watching this on Tuesday. So last week, the anime for the week ending the 7th was probably the best week of anime we've had all year. From Sentenced to Be a Hero giving us revelation on revelation, right? And then you had Frieren that had some amazing animation and high quality laughs. Fire Force gave us one of the best fights of the year thus far. Not for the show, but for anime in general. JJK also giving us an amazing fight this year. This has just been a stellar time for anime. Like I'm so elated to be an anime fan. The only show I haven't watched yet is Hell's Paradise, but I have no doubts in my mind. And that's because also Hell's Paradise comes on Sundays, right? So by the time you're seeing this, I probably would have watched it, but I haven't watched it as of recording. But Hell's Paradise is probably the only one I'm not even worried about because it's in the climax right now. So everything has just been a banger after banger after banger. Like it's been heat, unstoppable heat. Yeah, but this has just been a great week for anime. That was my quick yap. Let me go ahead and grab the wheel for the one time. Y'all ready? I'm gonna go to the left this time. That was still somehow a really good spin. I'm not gonna lie. What we got today? Music. What do I have in terms of music today? Not much, man. Hey, I will say that Baby Keem album. That shit is so fire. That shit is so fire. So I know it. I know it's been out for a couple of weeks now, but I sent it to my boy. And he was like, yeah, man, like, I love this album. I think it's way better than his first one. I said, oh, I didn't realize he had a first album. And he said, yeah, the one with Range Brothers. I was like, oh, that was an album? I didn't realize that that was an album. I remember listening to Range Brothers because Kendrick was on there. It was just a very hype song. I didn't understand half of what Baby Keem was talking about. It all just sounded like nonsense. It sounded like he had just learned how to put together a sentence and he was just stringing together words. But it was a very hype song and a very banging production. So I bumped the song, but I never listened to that album. And now I feel like I need to because listening to Casino from the intro the intro felt very intentional. And what I mean by that is it was one of the slowest paced songs in the entire album. Like the production on that song isn't a whole bunch of banging bass and drums. Like it feels very melodic compared to the chaos that you enter, which is the rest of the album. Because like the very first song is super chill, and the second one bangs, and the third one I think was a little chiller, and 4, 5, and 6 bang, and it was just like, oh man. He has 2 songs on there which are my favorite, and there may be 3, but there's 2 I remember for sure. It's Circus Freestyle, and maybe it's called Hush Money. I could be wrong. I'll put the names on the screen while I'm editing and whatnot. But yo, these songs, I keep them on my gym playlist. From production to some of the words that he's saying, I'm like, I feel you, baby Keem. I do understand. Yeah, like I don't know, man. He snapped. He did his damn thing. Yeah, and it was very humbling for me to be like, oh shit, like I was wrong. This kid can rap, hands down, no questions about it. Yeah, I was wrong. Doesn't even feel like it begins to what's what I'm looking for, to explain how incorrect I was. Yeah, but that man can spit, y'all. Highly recommend checking out Casino if you haven't already. Yeah. But with that said, y'all, I'm gonna wrap things up here. It's a beautiful day where I am right now, and it's March 8th. It should still be winter. It's 47 degrees. It's sunny as hell. I know I got this hoodie on, so that tells you differently. The wind's a little windy right now. I don't, you know what I mean? And I don't want to get sick. I feel like when it's cold and windy, I'm prone to getting sick. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to be sniffling and sneezing and all that other stuff. You feel me? So, hoodie. Gotta stay warm out here. Gotta stay protected. But with all that being said, I thank you for tuning in and stopping by. Please make sure you go check out Sip Read Repeat. Shout out to, I think his name was P Wizzle, for that comment, for getting some mood lighting and stuff. I will most certainly be looking into that, because that's the first piece of real feedback I've gotten. Whether it's constructive or not, that's the first piece of real feedback I've gotten for Sip Read Repeat. And for those of you who watch, Sip Read Repeat versus my normal episodes, the angles are very different. You're a little bit closer to me for Sip Read Repeat. So I do think some mood lighting and maybe darkening some things up can make this feel a little bit more special the way it was initially intended to. So thank you so much for that. And with that, I bid you adieu. Thank you for tuning in and stopping by. This is King Echo, signing off.